Hey, it's Miss Chris. I'm back. Today I want to talk to you about having restraint in being calm and not so good circumstances. A couple of days ago, I let my son drive my car. He's a new driver, 17 years old, practice driving. And he drives right into a parked car. Not so good. The car wasn't damaged that much. Luckily, we were going slow enough where he didn't crush the front end of my car, and he didn't crush in the driver's door of the car that he hit. Basically, it was like a fender bender. So we were in a parking lot, and I couldn't find the owner of the car, so I went into the local supermarket. Sorry about that. I'm in my car. It's a great day in the petrochemical state, and I was just riding around enjoying the sun. But anyway, I digress. So I went into the supermarket, and people were watching me. I went to the supermarket to try to find the owner. And when I got back out to the supermarket, the owner had found me in the supermarket because obviously people were watching. Oh, there she went into the supermarket. Oh, there they go, And I was in a predominantly white area, and my son and I were the only black people probably in the entire supermarket. So obviously we stuck out like sore thumbs. So he found me. I had his license plate. I was like, okay, are you the owner of the car? He's like, yeah. So he went out to the car. He was like, oh, I've never been in an accident. What do we do? I said, well, we exchanged. I'll show you my information. And I showed him my driver's license. He said, your son was driving, right? I was like, yeah. I was trying to keep him out of it since he's a new driver. But, all the people that were watching, said that he was driving. But, no big deal. Like, yeah, he was driving. So I gave him my driver's license and my insurance. And he took a picture of it. And he was like, okay, well, you want to involve the insurance companies? I was like, no, we don't have to. I mean, it was really his idea not to involve the insurance. He was like, well, we don't have to call. I was like, okay, good. Hey, our premiums won't go up. So I said, okay, well, go get an estimate for your car and, let me know. He was like, okay, no problem. Good. Okay. So we were about to get in our car to pull off. All was well and done. He was very nice. No one was hurt. His car wasn't hurt that badly. And guess who pulls up? The police. Great. Gets out of the car. I said, officer, we were finished. We already exchanged our information. Let me see your paperwork. Let me see your license and registration. Okay, no problem. So I give him my license and registration. Let me see your insurance. I had to go back and get the insurance. He looks over my information for about a good 5-7 minutes looking for something wrong. I mean, he was really looking over my information. And he goes, who's driving? And the guy that I hit, my son hit, we call him Joe. Joe said, her son. Let me see his license. I said, well, I didn't bring his paperwork because it was a spur of the moment. We just left from seeing Fast and Furious. And I was like, okay, well, you can drive. And, so you're going to let him drive without his paperwork, which is my fault. So I didn't make a big deal. I was like, yeah, it was a spur of the moment. That was my fault. And he goes, okay, well, you go stand over there, and I'm going to go talk to him. That was how I was feeling in my mind, like, okay, a-hole. So he speaks to the guy, and basically he's trying to ask the guy, are you sure you want to let her go? Are you sure you don't want to file a police report? The guy was like, no, we don't have to file a police report. We don't have to do it. Okay, well, let me put her plates in the system. So he goes around to the back of my car, and he calls in my plates, and I'm standing there. He's still looking for something. Anything to get me on. Found nothing. Right? So he was like, okay, well, you better do right by him. I better not hear, since you guys are going to come out of pocket, I better not hear that you didn't do right by him. He better not come to the station and say you didn't do right by him. Again, the look in my mind. Okay? All right. So I was like, no, everything's going to be all right, blah, blah, blah. So the police officer gets in the car and he drives away. The good thing about it is that I was calm, even though I was cussing him out in my mind, calling him all kinds of whatnottings. My son and I were very well spoken. Joe was very calm. He was very polite. He was very nice. And he didn't want to make a big deal of it. It was the police officer that was trying to make a big deal of it. The police officer couldn't find anything wrong with my license, my registration, and my insurance was all on par. All the addresses were cohesive and correspond with each other. He was like, okay, so he pulls off. My point is that you have to learn how to speak to people properly and calmly, because as people of color and people who were in the foster care system, we already have PTSD. I'm not gonna lie to you, I'm still a little shook. I'm still a little shook about the accident. I haven't been in an accident in over 20 some odd years. So now it activated a little bit of my PTSD, post-traumatic stress disorder. They don't call it that anymore. They call it post-traumatic stress. Anything could trigger it. And that kind of triggered it for days and days after. Even though it was a fender bender and it wasn't really that serious, I still felt like, and my son, he was like, oh, let's go. Before I let him drive, he was like, oh, well, we can go driving too down by Toys R Us. And there's a Toys R Us in our area where behind it is a river. And I'm like, oh, no, you want to go driving by the river? Are you insane? So, and then that thought in my mind kept popping up. Oh my God, what happened if I wasn't clear and I wasn't on top of my game and said, okay, yeah, we can drive around here for a bit. And he would have went off course and broke through the barricade with a 3,500 pound car from a little gate and threw us into the river. We could have been dead. Like, for real, like dead. And for days and days and days, I thought about that. I'm like, oh my God, what happens if I would have said, yeah, ooh, he could have killed us. And whew, that triggers the trauma in me. But I was like, you know what? You have to stay focused and you have to stay present. Presently, what was happening was, okay, my arm's getting a little tired. Presently, what was happening was Joe said, everything's fine. He texted me the day before. How do you want to pay? I said, well, I'll pay it off monthly. Now, in my mind, I'm thinking, wow, that's really nice of him because it was me. I'd have been like, okay, look. Okay, you can pay it off monthly, that's fine. But you need to tell me a day. You need to tell me how much you're going to pay. We're going to settle on how much you're going to pay every month. I wanted a certified mail. But see, that's me. Because I'm used to always having to protect myself. But he was like, oh. I was like, okay, well, he gave me the estimates. Of course, the estimates were $550, $650, $7. I said, oh God. So I was like, okay, let's go with the $550 one. Okay, so I said, I'll pay you $100 a month because we're not going through the insurance. I don't want to have my premium go up and your premium's going to go up. Okay. He was like, okay, no problem. And then he calls me back a day later and says, oh, I forgot to check on you guys. I forgot to see if you guys were okay in the accident. And I'm saying to myself, oh, wow, what a really nice man. And that's another thing. Once you put out good karma and good energy, I'm always very kind. I always give homeless people money. I don't speak bad about people. I try to do my best by people. I will never I don't take advantage of people. And I have lots of good energy in my karmic bank. And that's what you want to do. You want to have good deposits into your karmic bank. Even though I don't really believe in karma, it's really the law of polarity, left or right, and you always want to be balanced. So stay present. If something triggers your PTSD, be thankful that things are not worse than it could have been. So like I said, he could have doused us in the river and I would have been dead. We'd have both been dead. But he didn't. And it was just a fender bender and, everything's okay. And also be grateful. I am so grateful that this man was not an a-hole. Oh, and the police officer also told me, oh, well, I could charge your son with being an unlicensed driver. He wouldn't see his license until he was in his 20s. Oh, God. And that's another reason why I didn't want to stress the insurance company and all that because, he's not on my insurance as of yet because he's a very new driver and I haven't arranged for that yet. That could have been a really, really big deal, but it wasn't. So I am thankful. So stay present, put good energy, good deposits in your karmic energy bank account. Be grateful. Talk calmly to people. Be rational. Don't let people trigger you. Because if I was somebody else, that cop could have triggered me and it could have been on like popcorn at that site where we were at the accident site. But nope, I didn't let him trigger me. I was calm. I was respectful. So was my son. And it ended well. Now, I know things don't always go that way. I know police officers can be rude. I know people can be rude. Joe could have been a real asshole to me. Excuse the expression. He could have really went off. He could have been really agitated. But again, we can't focus on that. We can't focus on what if. And if people are like that, still don't let them trigger you. Don't let other people dictate your behavior. You have to have self-mastery, self-control. You are the only person that you can control. Don't let other people control you. Okay? So I think that's all I'm going to say right now. So yeah, that's pretty much it. So I'm back in my car. I'm driving, even though it triggered my PTSD. I love driving. I'm not going to let that stop me. But I know one thing, my son will not be driving my car anytime soon. So that's it. Remember to be the hero of your own journey. Until next time, peace.